Hey everyone, today is a super special day. Today sees the release of Crown Zenith, which is also the end of an era. The Sword and Shield series has finally come to a close. And what a set to end on. The Crown Zenith artwork is amazing, and I'm sure most of you are tucking into some ETBs as I speak. But it got me thinking, we've been on an incredible journey over the last 3 years with this series. So I wanted to do a little video where we just go down memory lane and have a look at some of the highs, some of the lows, and my favourite highlights really. So come join me. So let's start off by going all the way back to 7th of February 2020. This saw the release of the Sword and Shield base set. Now, for some of you trying to work out the dates, this is technically just before the first lockdown happened with the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was around this time that I actually got back into Pokemon. I remember the little collection box coming out with the nice Pikachu promo in it, being one of the first products I got, along with a Zamazenta ETB. So yeah, this was when I first got back into Pokemon. I still can't remember why. It must have popped up. I bought it from Chaos Cards, of all places. So did they have an advert that somehow got me? I don't know. I was a big Pokemon fan back in the day, but since then, not really had much to do with it, nor the games. So, not sure how the internet was able to show them adverts to me, but they certainly did, and I certainly am very happy they did. So, yeah, so Sword and Shield came out. Big talking cards for a collector's point of view. Obviously, not a massive TCG gamer myself, so obviously lots of playable cards in this entire series. I know that we've seen some huge power upgrades with a lot of the VMAX cards and stuff like that, but as a collector, that's what I'm more looking at. So yeah, from my point of view, the two gold dogs, we had Zacian and Zamazenta. They were big chase cards. And that fantastic Snorlax card, if anyone can remember. You should be seeing it on the screen right now. But that was a very nice artwork card, and I know a lot of people did enjoy that. The full art over the rainbow, which often seems the case these days anyway. So yeah, 7th February 2021 was when the Sword and Shield era started. Then, 26th of March, some of you will recognise that date, some of you won't, was lockdown number 1. And I guess at this point, this could be the very start of that catalyst, which we know turns into this huge explosion of Pokemon collectors and interest in Pokemon. Obviously, that doesn't happen for a few more months, but this is probably the catalyst as we all start stuck in our home looking for things to do, right? So lockdown happens, and the next set that's released was Rebel Clash. That was the 1st of May 2020, and in my opinion, the worst set of the entire series. I can barely remember any of the cards from that set. And I purposely for this video didn't go off and research all the sets again and stuff like that. I wanted it to be from my personal view. Yeah, so Rebel Crash to me was awful, and therefore I don't remember much about it. What I do remember about it was being probably Rillaboom and Interleon V focused, and yeah, I don't remember opening too many packs, which was interesting because obviously I just started getting back into it, right? So you would have thought new set would be all over it, but wasn't the case. So Rebel Clash came and went, and obviously my journey, probably was a great word, journey through the Pokemon world obviously started to get deeper. I was joining Facebook groups where obviously I met lots of you guys watching, and started to actually obviously integrate into the community and just see what was going on, and that was really fun. And one of the first groups I came across back then was a group called Dan's Pokestop. Now, we all know about Dan's Pokestop now. If you don't, I don't know where you've been living. Obviously, huge grading middleman service that Dan provides. But for some of you, you might not know this, but before his shop that he's just recently opened in the high street, he had a shed. But it doesn't stop there. Before the shed, he had a kitchen. and that's where the lives were done back then. And he would do auctions, he would do some ripping ships, but it was the auctions that got me. They were fantastic, and anyone else watching who remembers them will also remember how they were so fun to watch. You got some fantastic value cards, and yeah, that was a fantastic moment for me. And it was a crucial moment as well, because I think that's what spurred me to actually get into Pokemon more, right? So before that, opening some Sword and Shield and Rebel Clash here and there, had a little binder and whatnot, but it was getting into them auctions with other collectors and seeing lots of different cards that was crucial to my journey into Pokemon. So that was really fun. And like I said, that was around just after Rebel Clash, I remember happening. So we were still in lockdown at that point, I believe. The first lockdown ended in June time. Now, after June, on the next set we saw was Darkness Ablaze. That came out in August. Now, Darkness Ablaze brought back a Charizard, which obviously meant that set was a hit. Yeah, and not only that, it was the first booster box I purchased. Yeah, who would have guessed? Again, I think it was like Total Cards, I don't know, somewhere like that. And I purchased a whole booster box for like 90 quid, I think it was back then. Bargain compared to today's prices. And yeah, I remember cracking that open, and I pulled the Charizard. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I finally pulled a really good card. Now, looking back, obviously, it was just a regular VMAX, right? With a pull rate slightly higher than the other VMAX, I guess, but it wasn't a secret rare or anything like that. So it was a pullable card, but nonetheless, I was absolutely ecstatic to have pulled a Charizard, and at that point as well, on the Dan's Pokestock group, obviously the grading has started. Yeah, the middleman service has just started off really, and people were starting to send cards. So this VMAX, Charizard VMAX, I put to one side. I was going, well, that's going to be one of the first cards I grade. I put that to one side to make sure it was going to happen. So after that, after Darkness Ablaze, we had Champion's Path. Now, this was a big moment for me, I think, in looking back, because the hype really stepped up for this. So Darkness Ablaze, Rebel Clash, Sword and Shield, the hype was fairly low. So I feel like Champion's Path was when we started seeing that role in members and Pokemon community growing. So yeah, Champion's Path obviously had 2 Charizards, and obviously it was a holiday set, which means you only got it in ETBs and collection boxes, and you still could get stock at this point. We haven't reached the part where getting stock was an absolute nightmare, but it wasn't as easy. Yeah, and again, I remember getting myself a couple of ETBs and collection boxes. Lots of people getting lots of ETBs, and there was some ripping ships on the lives at this point. Again, I think I'm still only really in Dan's Pokestop at that time. I don't remember watching, obviously, some of the other great content providers out there open up Champion's Path, from memory at least. But yeah, so Champion's Path was really cool for that, but it also was the start of pull rates getting ridiculous, right? I know it was only a small set, but obviously it's not called Champion's Path for no reason. You just pulled a Champion's Hollow in nearly every pack, and then when you did finally pull something, it was a Dreadnought VMAX. So it was painful. It was painful to open, but at the end of that light was these 2 Charizards, right? And they're still really good Charizards now. The shiny Charizard V is personally one of my favourite Charizards out there. I don't own it. I don't know why. Just never gone and bought it, I guess. Certainly would never pull it, and I ain't buying any ETBs now. So yeah, Champion's Path was really interesting. I think this is where we start seeing, like I say, this jump in members and community growth, but also the negative of that, difficult to get stock, and yeah, and we know what happens as we all live through it. So Champion's Path came and went, and it was around October time, and this is a memory that will live with me forever. Yeah, I'll take it to the grave with me. And again, sorry, again in Dan's Pokestop, we came a super special live. Dan, working with Jason Page, was putting on a live in the Pokestop. For those of you who don't know, Jason Page is the OG singer of the Pokemon theme tune. And yeah, when the live went up, and basically the live was, you paid a bit of money. I think we opened up some Hidden Fates, maybe, or might have been Champion's Path, can't remember exactly. But we opened up some product, and your hit, Jason would sign, and we would send that off to get graded. No, I don't think we did. I still haven't graded mine because mine's still here. So yeah, he signed it, and then Dan sent it back out to us. So when that first happened, it was like, okay, yeah, I'll get involved. I'm sure it'll be all right live. I mean, yeah, he's the OG singer, but it's not a massive thing. Not that I thought. And the live started. I remember the live started, and I was stood in the kitchen. I think I was cooking dinner. My partner was in the front room, but I didn't want to miss the live. Yeah, so I remember sitting there with my phone for about 3 hours, I think it was, and I just had a smile on my face the whole time. I mean, Jason clearly is a guy who comes across as if he's on something, but his charm and his charisma and his know-how how to grab your attention was fantastic. He was singing our names just in random songs. He was singing the theme song. It was amazing. Anyone who was able to attend that first Jason Page live will know how amazing it was, and it was an honour to be a part of it. It was an honour to get a card signed by him. So thanks massively to Dan for setting that up, because it certainly would not have happened otherwise. So that was amazing. Now, a few, I don't know, maybe weeks, maybe months down the line, in one of Dan's auctions came up the Jason Page hat that you can see that I'm wearing at the moment. So Jason created, I think it has a number on it, might not, no, it says number 2. But yeah, Jason created, I think it's 4 or 5 of these hats, and obviously they're all hand drawn and as crazy as you expect from the man himself, with fingers, and I don't know what mine really is, but yeah, I went to auction, and I was like, well, I had to get this one, mainly because of that moment I had only a few weeks prior of this fantastic live. So, and welcome back, guys. So whilst I was just chatting there, my webcam decided to just fall off the monitor, so that's what happened there. Good old technical glitches. But yeah, as I was saying, was able to pay just over 100 quid, I think it was at the time, for this fantastic hat, and this and my signed card just is obviously what it was all about, having these cherishable moments and something to keep that memory alive, which it will do forever. So yeah, there's my little fanboying over Jason Page, I guess. Done. And we will continue our journey through the Sword and Shield series. So next up was Vivid Voltage. That came in November. And yeah, well, it's a cool set, don't get me wrong. We saw Amazing Rares. I believe this was the first time we started seeing Amazing Rares. They were really nice. I thought Amazing Rares were really nice. I thought they could have probably gone a bit harder on them, had some bigger Pokemon potentially on them, or I don't know, do something quite different, because I thought they were quite different. They were really nice, and they didn't last too long, as we knew. But so the Amazing Rares were cool, and obviously the big chase card was the Chunkachu. I don't think I've ever seen anyone pull a Chunkachu. The pull rates for that seem as well, if not more ridiculous than some of the Zards in the Champion's Path were. So yeah, what was annoying, I guess, about this was that stock was now becoming harder to get. Yes, we did see ribbon ships in the groups, and you could still buy them if you tried on places like Total Cards, Magic Madhouse, whatever, right? But it was really starting to see now that they were hard to get hold of. So not only were they hard to get hold of, but then it was really hard to pull the chase cards, and yeah, this made it difficult to collect and whatnot. So we had Vivid in November, and then between November to March, we were doing the hokey pokey with lockdowns. I think you remember, yes, we were in lockdown, we were out lockdown, we were in lockdown, and obviously that made it a tough time. And I think that's why this next little stretch of releases are quite fond in the memory. Lots of different stuff done by the Pokemon Company at this point. But yeah, so what we saw in February of 2021, we saw Shining Fates. Now, obviously, Hidden Fates from the Sun and Moon era was a huge hit. And obviously, Shinies, Pokemon know that they can just take shiny Pokemon and sell it to us for X amount of money. So Shining Fates arrived. That had some good hype. I remember some really good ripping ships with that. So obviously we had the Shining Charizard, which was a big hit. Pull rate wasn't huge on that either. Like, that was pullable. I pulled it. I know a lot of other pulled it. We pulled it ripping ships for other people. So Shining Fates was was good for that. Stock originally was really hard to get Shining Fates. If you remember, it was quite difficult to get hold of Shining Fates. But as you all know now, actually, looking back, obviously there's that Charizard, but it doesn't seem to be that favoured of a set, because I could go out now and get some Shining Fates at reasonable price, right? Whereas all the sets I just said prior to this, not so much. Obviously, Shining Fates, again, being a holiday set, no booster boxes, just ETBs and whatnot. So that was really cool. Then we moved on to March, where we saw Battle Styles. Now, this is where we started to see some alt arts. So Tita at the Buffet was the first one. Fantastic card that was. And really kicked off this new generation of alt arts, really. Alt arts, nothing new. We saw alt arts back in Sun and Moon. But, obviously, it was the start of what seems to be a real big push down on this alternative artwork for cards, and then moves into like training galleries and stuff that we're going to obviously chat about in a moment's time. So, Battle Starts came in March, Chilling Reign came in June. Chilling Reign was a fantastic set with some fantastic alt arts, but this is where they really double down on giving the world's worst pull rates. People were opening booster boxes and everything and just getting nothing, really. It was very hard to watch, to be honest, and such a shame, because I think some of the best alt arts live in Chilling Reign, and it's a shame that pull rates are bad, right? There's not many words to put it on it. In Japan, we know that when we have booster boxes that they're seeded and we are guaranteed our secret rares, and that gives us a level of confidence and that base level of hit rates, right? In England, well, in UK versions and English versions, we don't do that for some reason, and it leads to this. When they get it wrong, it's awful, and it's such a shame. So after Chilling Reign came Evolving Skies in August. Evolving Skies is a big set. Obviously, evolutions are fan favourites, regardless. So, doing the whole set pretty much around them with the Moonbryon, which is definitely the biggest card of 2021, 2022. Just trying to work out the dates there. But yeah, Evolving Skies was still technically in 2021. Crazy there. And yeah, fantastic cards, fantastic artworks again on that. Like I say, Moonbryon's a huge one, but there are others in there. And this is the first set, really, since Evolutions, where we've seen this quite large increase in value on booster box in the modern era. So we know Evolutions booster boxes are quite expensive now, and that's what's happening with Evolving Skies. And compared to all the previous sets I've previously mentioned, none have hit that kind of height. So there we go. Evolving Skies is certainly a good one to have kept sealed if you did so. Moving after that into October was Celebrations. Celebrations was a fantastic set. Awesome to open, brought back nostalgia, give you good hit rates. That was a real good community spirit as well during that. People getting together to open up some fantastic cards. Really enjoyed that. Obviously, we had the Zard, we had the Venusaur, we had the Blastoise. For me as well, Celebrations showed maybe the decline and the reduction of the Pokemon community again. So once Celebration was over, I felt like that huge increase that we had, which I just kind of skipped over in this review. So back in February 2021, obviously Logan Paul decided to get involved in Pokemon, and obviously Pokemon was always rising anyway because of lockdown, but he came along and phew, and it just took it to another level really. He did a box break and all that, and we saw the value in Pokemon cards go through the roof and all that, and that was around February, which interestingly is around Shining Fates when I said we started to see this difficult getting stock because of this huge increase that even Pokemon wasn't expecting, right? They didn't know some YouTuber called Logan Paul was going to completely increase their demand tenfold, did they? So kind of makes sense why it was at that point in time that we saw that. So, but yeah, after Celebrations ended, obviously we're way away from any lockdowns now. Obviously, the last one being March previous to that. So everyone has started kind of moving on, getting back to real life. Celebration was really good fun. And obviously that brought back the nostalgia, and yeah, it just seemed to be, I don't know, for a lot of people, a swan song, right? It was their time to have a break, or even leave entirely the Pokemon community. So yeah, that saw a little reduction, and then obviously we saw sets like Fusion Strike come out in November, which has the Gengar VMAX, which to me is the best Alt-Art card out there. Again, don't own it. So my two favourite cards that I've mentioned in this journey review, don't have. But yeah, well, that was fantastic. And then we moved on to Brilliant Stars in February 2022. Now, for me, this is quite an interesting move because you can see the effort from the Pokemon community here. Obviously, we started seeing training gallery cards and this all cool artwork, which stemmed from the alternative arts. But we also saw some more Charizards because they know Charizard sells boxes, and the alt art Charizard is a pretty nice card. So Brilliant Stars had really good cards in there and is a light set, but compared to everything we have just previously been through with the hype and everything, I'm surprised that Brilliant Stars hype didn't get high, and I think that's because of the reduction in our communities anyway. So awesome set, that was really good. Astral Radiance followed that, not quite as good set, but was really fun to open. I did some ripping ships on that and really enjoyed them. And then it was Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go was a nice, just nice like segue. Really, it moved on to some different kind of cards, some different ideas. I mean, the Ditto sticker card was brilliant, completely. Yeah, it's a bit of a novelty item, really, but it's a really cool idea. Fair play to Pokemon on that. And it was, again, lovely set to open, good pull rates. And this is what I don't understand with Pokemon. They always seem to bring us back to a really difficult pull rates. When give us good pull rates, we'll open lots of cards. Yes, fair enough, a few cards. To hold that value needs to stay high, but give us good pull rates, please, Pokemon. So after Go was Lost Origin, which some people, I've seen quite a few people collecting that set. It's one that I kind of skipped over, really. So that was probably my most quietest time. Is that a word? I don't know. Yeah, let's say it is. Was probably during that Lost Origin Pokemon Go era. I wasn't doing too much around them. Then Silver's Tempest was the latest Sword and Shield before obviously today's release. And that brought in that Lugia Alt-Art card. Fantastic card. Again, worth a good bit of moolah, should we say, but that was really cool. And then finally, with the Crown Zenith being released today, I'll be doing some box breaks on the V-Star Universe, which is obviously the Japanese version of that. And like I said at the start of this video, the artwork is amazing and is a fantastic set to finish the era on. So there you have it. We have gone from, in this series, we've had 1, 2, 3, 55 lockdowns. We've gone through the highs and lows of Logan Paul, from having loads of stock to no stock to having stock again, to seeing the rise of our Pokemon cards going from £10, £50 back to £20. We have gone through so much together over these last 3 years. It's been a fantastic time. I've enjoyed every moment of it. And yeah, I am sad to see it go, but I'm also excited to see what changes there are. with Scarlet and Violet, what we're going to see in the future. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Let me know in any comments wherever this is posted. What was your favourite moment of this series? And I'll catch you soon.